Good morning. Good morning. I don't want no hate, but my song you appreciate, so have a good day. Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, BG Martinique. I have to shake my head at my own self sometimes, and it be like that sometimes. It be like that. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It is another beautiful day in the land of the living. Thank you so very much for tuning into Good Morning Grenada and starting your Tuesday off with us here at the GBN. Always a pleasure. Thank you so very much. Trust you had a restful and peaceful Monday, and you're ready to get Tuesday up and running. Good morning to the folks joining us on the GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11, and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9, and all the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go To Fet Facebook pages. It is a pleasure. We should be all grateful, thankful, appreciative to be in the land of the living. We got another chance to do Tuesday. It is the 6th of July 2021, but it's another Tuesday, another day, another opportunity to get things right and do what you gotta do, accomplish what you set out to accomplish. So let's get straight into this morning's word of the day. This morning's word of the day is gourmandize. Gourmandize. It's spelled Gormandize. Gourmandize. It is a verb which means to eat greedily, gluttonously, or ravenously, or to devour. Gourmandize entered English in the mid-1500s as a modification of a word which is a term borrowed from the French that served as a synonym for glutton. The meanings of both gourmand and gourmandize were clearly disparaging until the 19th century when gourmet came into use to refer to a connoisseur of food and drink. Since then, the meaning of gourmand has softened so that it is now simply suggesting someone who likes good food in large quantities. Gourmandize still carries negative connotations of gluttony, but it can also imply that a big eater has a discriminating palate as well as a generous appetite. Word of the day this morning. Word of the day this morning is gourmandize. It's spelled Gormandize. It is a verb which means to eat greedily, gluttonously, or ravenously, or to devour. I'm giggling at how the definition has evolved. An example of the use of the word: Lady Balforth watched in horror as Lord Hogwood gourmandized the hors d'oeuvres, polishing off the entire lot before any of the other guests even arrived. Another example of the use of the word: that's because there are very few other things to focus on while staring at the ceiling from the couch after gourmandizing the Thanksgiving feast. That's the word of the day this morning, gourmandize. It's spelled Gormandize. Gourmandize. It is a verb which means to eat greedily, gluttonously, or ravenously, or to devour. I like how the meaning has evolved. It has moved from gluttony and implies a big eater has a discriminating palate. I think I gourmandize sometimes. Not a gluttonous part of it. A good eater. That part. As you go about your terrific Tuesday, the thought of today to get you through the next 24 hours at least. If there is anything you should stop wearing after age 30, it's the weight of other people's opinions. If there is anything you should stop wearing after age 30, it's the weight of other people's opinions. Yep, a lot of us let other people's opinions determine our future, determine our present, determine what we do, how we do it, why we do it, when we do it, if we do it, if we don't do it. Joke. Other people's opinions, especially when they don't pay your bills, they don't put a roof over your head, they don't put clothes on your back, they are adding nothing to your life. Other people's opinions shouldn't matter. They should matter least on the scale of things to matter. People just have their opinions, which they have a right to, but that shouldn't determine what you do, how you do it, if you do it, when you do it, why you do it. So let's review the thought again. If there is anything you should stop wearing after age 30, it's the weight of other people's opinions. Tell them thanks, but I good, I cool. Yeah, set up yourself. Go for to the opinion. I righteous. Bless up, have a good day, but I'ma do what I wanna do. I'ma do what I need to do. I'ma do what I gotta do and have to do. Lord, see, okay, there we go. Before I start to rant on a little thought this morning. All right, let's see what is celebrated today. July 6, 2021. A few things celebrated, but I'll recognize one. I'll recognize one. This morning, we're going to recognize today as International Kissing Day. International Kissing Day. No matter which type of kiss you prefer, International Kissing Day is the perfect time of year to celebrate this simple but powerful gesture. From French kissing and a formal kiss on the cheek to a kiss hello and a kiss goodbye, kissing is an age-old practice with significance that extends far beyond just romance. It is International Kissing Day. I would not advise you go about kissing any and everybody, especially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. You don't know where those mouths and those cheeks have been. However, the people close to you, the loved ones, family members, feel free to set up yourself a longer kiss on the cheek for mommy when you're leaving for school or work today, a longer kiss for wifey when wifey gets home from work this afternoon, a longer kiss for granny when you visit her this week, aka this week. That's the imperative words here. It's International Kissing Day. Set up all yourself. I repeat, don't go around kissing any and everybody. However, feel free to kiss your close family. I'll put an asterisk by the friend spot just in case. Set up all yourself. Remember, COVID-19 is very much out there. You don't know what's happening in the dance. So set up yourself with the kisses, but it's International Kissing Day, so the people you usually kiss on a daily basis, a little longer today. That's how we're going to celebrate International Kissing Day. A little longer kisses for your loved ones. International, mwah. I could give all the kisses all the day far. Set up all yourself. International Kissing Day today. All right, and just before we go to the news, just a heads up, we are expecting some more water. Most of us, at least, have started seeing what we can expect, at least into tomorrow, please the Lord. There is a tropical wave approaching the island chain. So we should start experiencing, we started experiencing some inclement weather since yesterday, and that should continue. Into the rest of today and I think tomorrow, God willing. But it's just it's supposed to be mostly rain, a little bit of wind here and there as the tropical wave passes. So keep that in mind as you go about your day. Hopefully it should not be as extensive as when Hurricane Elsa passed, but it will be a wet Tuesday and at least start of Wednesday. So keep that in mind as you go about your day today. If your umbrella if you need to replace or repair, do so today because it's going to be a rainy start of the week. Let's put it that way. All right, now let's get ready for the morning edition of news. For those of you on radio and those of you on our visual platforms, we bring you highlights of last evening's newscast. It's Good Morning Grenada on this terrific Tuesday. We'll be right back.
The decline in airline arrivals due to COVID-19 is hitting local exporters where it hurts. The lack of freight for exporters is taking a toll on their pockets. Agricultural sector representative in the Senate, Roderick St. Clair, says as recently as this past weekend, 2 exporters sustained losses while seeking to export soursop and callaloo. Gerard Joseph reports.
A lack of freight continues to be a major stumbling block for exporters who, according to Senator Roderick St. Clair, have encountered challenges with the airlines. For different technical issues as reported, they were unable to come, then they would come, and then the flight change, and so almost 4 days. So by the time they really arrive, you literally have to buy new produce all over again if you have money to ship. The senator says the reduction in flights for American Airlines and Amerijet, plus the size of the planes, are hindering factors which have cost the exporters significantly. Senator St. Clair says the fisheries sector has also lost a considerable amount of money despite the ability to freeze the fish caught for export.
We've been speaking to one of the local agents here who we are exploring the opportunity of a charter. Of course, it would come at a higher price, but at least we might find a tripartite way to address this so that at least farmers could be able to sell the product, exporters could export, and the country could bring in monies.
He notes that hundreds of Grenadians are directly involved in the export process, and an estimated $600,000 per week are circulated to farmers, fishers, and export employees. Minister for Agriculture Yolambine Hosford tells GBN that they have been meeting with the different stakeholders, such as the LF Committee, in a bid to resolve the issue. I am Gerald Joseph for GBN News.
A death trap. That is what residents of Cafe St. Andrew are calling an abandoned truck in the area. The vehicle is used as a playground by children in the area. GBN's Rena Pear-Thomas has been investigating this issue and sent us this dispatch.
Residents of Cafe St. Andrew are concerned about the safety of their children who use an abandoned truck as a playground. The truck was reportedly placed there several years ago by a member of the community. However, despite multiple complaints to the owner and calls for someone in authority to step in, the dilapidated vehicle has not been moved. Resident Martin Johnson is concerned that children could get hurt.
As you have seen this truck, it's really dilapidated and is an imminent threat to the lives of the young children, especially the school kids who are playing there. It's about time for this truck to be moved here. And what drives my passion about this, and it stops me the most, the children are young children, somebody need to protect them. Now it's for us, the adults, to protect the children. And this truck has to be moved because it's going to kill somebody.
Johnson told GBN that he has spoken with the truck owner, who indicated that he would have the vehicle removed. But so far, he has not seen any attempt.
I brought it to the owner's attention and plead with him that the kids would be killed with this truck, posing a danger to their lives because they are playing on that truck from school. He said that he would move the truck. I gave him some time. The truck has not been moved. It's still here, as you can see.
Other community members are also uneasy about the situation and recall incidents that they believe could have been avoided.
Sometimes children go to school and rain coming, they shelter underneath there. So it's dangerous because this house is up.
My daughter will be up here sometime, and when she places her vehicle in the yard, to get out is very hard. Now I won't say hard, but dangerous because you cannot see what is coming, you know.
No one knows how sturdy this thing is there, and it could fall on one of the children in the area and damage them. The children are passing here every day, so that's my main concern, is for the children of the community. One time it was like an accident with a bike man coming up and a vehicle going down. So he coming around the area there so fast, it's like, I don't know if he didn't have brakes or anything, but he banged to the side of the truck there.
Mr. Johnson said he went as far as to report the issue to the police, but that too seemed futile.
I went to the police station on the 27th of May. I again went there on the June 7th, and I went back on June 24th. And at that time, I recognized that they are not doing anything to move this threat to the lives of the young people. I went as far as telling them it's no business of mine coming back to the police station because it seemed that they lack the caring for the kids who might be killed in that truck right here.
GBN called the Grenville police station. An officer there acknowledged that a report was made, but he did not disclose any other information. We also sought a comment from the owner of the truck, Mr. Aaron Thomas. He declined our request for an on-camera interview. However, he indicated to the news team that he is aware of the situation and that he is exploring ways of removing the vehicle. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear-Thomas reporting.
Grenada has largely returned to normalcy following the impact of what was Tropical Storm Elsa, which of course later was Hurricane Elsa. It later developed into the hurricane and dealt a severe blow to other Caribbean islands. As we hear from Krista Campbell, it's one thing to sustain damage to your home, but for several individuals across the region, the cost of Hurricane Elsa's destruction runs far deeper.
And is that
Elsa swept away 2 cars and vegetable stalls in Grenada at stormwatch level. She pounded several other Caribbean islands. 4 days later, some Bajans still do not have electricity as Elsa reaps havoc throughout the country. Some of those affected recounted their experience with the press.
Just as I lie down, it was just whoops! I sprang up, the whole thing gone flying. The rain was falling, we had nowhere to shelter. All we could do is hit to the front door and park there because 3 quarter come off and the next quarter was just keep flapping all the time. So we were setting if it's anything, we go outside, but yet you're scared to go out because the wind was that heavy.
St. Vincent and St. Lucia also took a pounding. Over in St. Lucia, Prime Minister Alan Chastanet confirmed the death of 1 man following the passage of Tropical Storm Elsa, and in the Dominican Republic, 2 people died on Saturday when walls collapsed in high winds. Meanwhile, Cubans are bracing for Elsa's arrival, which is forecast to bring heavy rain to central parts of the island. Tonight on Beyond the Headlines, we will hear from the St. Lucian Prime Minister, officials at the Caribbean Disaster Management Agency, and journalists from our sister stations in the region. We relive the experience, examine lessons learned, and map strategies for the future. Join us on Beyond the Headlines from 8:35 p.m. Krista Campbell, GBN News.
And of course, you've heard it tonight on GBN's Beyond the Headlines. There will be a review of the impact of Hurricane Elsa and how to try to learn any lessons from the experiences here and our neighboring territories. In our nightly news on June 23rd, 2021, the GBN aired a news story touching concerning a land dispute at Bushejou St. George, in which a resident stated that she was granted permission by the Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Mitchell, to occupy the property. The Prime Minister, through his legal counsel, has since written to the GBN advising that the said statement is completely untrue and false. The GBN erred by failing to contact the Prime Minister for veracity of the claim and sincerely apologizes to the Prime Minister and to the public for this misstep and assures that GBN and its employees were in no way intending to cause harm to the Prime Minister's reputation. In addition, GBN recognizes that this statement can cause harm to the reputation and character of the Prime Minister. As such, GBN completely retracts the said statement. The COVID-19 virus has wreaked havoc on societies worldwide, but it has also presented opportunities. Here in Grenada, several people have capitalized on business breaks. In tonight's Untold Story, Rena Pear Thomas revisits a St. Andrew farmer who augmented his earnings when COVID-19 impacted his farming business.
They are tucked away in the nooks and crannies of Grenada, waiting to be told. GBN digs deep, uncovers the untold stories. We are GBN, covering Grenada's untold stories.
Calvin Cameron is a young entrepreneur in the parish of St. Andrew that has a unique brand called Kalu. Cameron will be telling us all about his brand and how this idea came to play.
Well, the idea came about not really from me, but from my wife. During the pandemic, Yeah, I was home, I was working, but things got slow, so I was home and looking for something to do because to sustain my family. She wanted a bag. I made the bag for her, and when she go to work, people tell her they like the bag and stuff. She posted it up on Facebook, and people started to message her, asking about the bag and if she was making it. And from there, I just started.
The 32-year-old farmer said he was not a professional tailor, but with his wife's encouragement and the help of social media sites, he developed ideas to improve his brand.
I started off making them without the lining and without zip, but then I say I have to improve on it. So I started to make the zip, I started to put the lining, and I got a stamper and I started to brand it. I got the normal size. The bags, and then those, we call them clutch. That's just a smaller purse, a handbag, you shove it in your wrist. Yeah, so that's it. And you have small one, I make a little bigger. As I say, I give people the choice. If they want it a little bigger, a little wider, a little smaller or normal, then you tell me and I make it to suit.
As he registered growth, he started looking for ways to put a unique mark on his product. He told the story of how the name Carlo came to play.
Carlo is my nickname. My name is Calvin, but most people know me by Carlo. I was searching for an idea, and one of my friends, she had a program and she wanted to give out stuff. And I gave her the bag, and then she told me Carlo's design. So just by saying Carlo's design, it kind of clicked. So I said, all right, everybody know me by Carlo. I will just brand it as Carlo.
Calvin manufactures the bags at home and provides a delivery service. He has a big dream.
I can say I'm stopping at this position because I want to go bigger and better. So I want to, instead of sewing on the bags, I want to get the rings so I could clip it, hook it, make it better. So I still have room for improvement. I still want to make the product a better product. My dream is to have a business for myself, do something for myself. So I want to reach a certain, in a way that I could even employ people to work with me,
With all the negatives associated with COVID-19, we are happy to share Cameron's untold story. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear-Thomas reporting.
Absolutely love it. Congratulations, Carlo. Moving ahead, 2 Carriacou residents think they have unearthed treasures which date back to the island's indigenous people. Each layer of an excavation has a story through time. This statement according to archaeologist Mike Carson. So the question is, what could the story of the discovery made in Carriacou be? Krista Campbell gives us the details in this intriguing story.
This morning we were called by a sea bather in this area, one who came to have his Sunday morning swim. You probably know him as Short Chris, and he made a very, very important discovery, and you see they're working very, very hard. So this is what they dig up so far.
That was the voice of a storyteller bringing us up to speed on this peculiar discovery on the sister isle of Carriacou. This peculiar discovery was made on a beach to the south of the island. The discoverers believe their findings to be clay pots that were fashioned by the island's first inhabitants, the indigenous people.
This looks like hype stuff, the pottery that they did. Let's see, what's your take on it?
It is, as Christians rightfully say, it's our history, our heritage that's here.
Yes.
So we're going to try our best to see what the archaeologist says, or unearth them in good condition.
Coastal erosion was among the many factors ascribed to the resurfacing of their discovery.
We know that there has been a lot of coastal erosion, so I guess that's the reason why we're seeing them now.
Could this discovery be considered an artifact? Well, according to experts, an artifact is an object made by a person. The term can also be used to refer to the remains of an object, such as a shard of broken pottery or glassware. Associate Professor of Archaeology at the University of Guam, Dr. Mike Carson explains.
For an archaeological artifact made by a person, at least one characteristic of the object can be clarified as the result of human action that could not have happened through any non-human agency. Examples could include compound products of pottery made through a series of actions in a deliberate sequence.
It has been documented that artifacts are immensely useful to archaeologists. These scholars utilize artifacts excavated from places like Petite Tasse Beach to learn more about the past. The discoverers in Carriacou safely stored the objects back into the water and contacted the relevant authorities who they say will carry out further investigations. Krista Campbell, GBN News.
Very interesting indeed. Moving ahead, poultry production seems to have been a saving grace for some people who have been trying to weather the economic storm created by COVID-19. The Poultry Association has registered an increase in membership as more people get involved in the sector. President of the association, Jason Phillips, says many have been able to use the poultry industry as a means of supplementing their incomes. Jared Joseph reports.
The poultry sector has been able to maintain economic stability despite the challenges brought about by COVID-19. President of the association, Jason Phillips, says they have not only weathered the storm, but they have also experienced an increase in membership.
Well, over the course of the past 12 months, we have seen an influx of new individuals who operate from different sides in terms of their production capacity. We have seen an increase, and to date, we've seen more than 120 new individuals who have surfaced just alone during the pandemic period.
Philip is happy to welcome the new members and is forecasting further growth.
To date, we're seeing more than 550 farmers nationwide, which includes Carriacou and Petit Martinique, who are actively farming to date. And so that means that the economy across the nation is being positively affected because we have farmers who are not just farming themselves, but they're also employing individuals. They're also buying and selling and trading in their communities and in their respective villages.
At the height of the pandemic, the association ensured poultry farmers had an adequate supply of feed via an emergency supply, while also maintaining the delivery of day-old chicks from Barbados.
I must say that over the course of the past 12 months, we have significantly evolved so that our measures in terms of how we deal with catastrophes, how we deal with disasters, and how we maintain our infrastructure.
During the past year, the association engaged in capacity building exercises and sought to enhance its relationship with stakeholders. I am Jared Joseph for GBN News.
One of Grenada's architectural designs has grabbed the attention of many on social media. The futuristic design by Brian Bullen highlighted the carnage if restored, placing the island's public library in the spotlight. Rena Pear-Thomas has more.
Despite COVID-19 restrictions, Grenada was once again able to be part of an art exhibition in Italy displaying various architectural designs, among others, of Grenadians. This year, a particular piece hit the social media platform with 10,000 views and many shares just in the first few days, mostly from within Grenada and its diaspora. The piece showcased the work of our very own Brian Bullen's Carronage Restoration Project. It depicts what the Carronage could look like if restored, with many responses indicating hopes that the restoration of the public library would be the first step in the revitalization project. Susan Maines, Grenada's commissioner of the Pavilion of the Art Exhibit, said the rendition of Bullen's architectural plans goes very well with the overarching theme of the exhibit.
Since 2015, Grenada has been participating in this art exhibition in Venice, Italy, that is the most prestigious in the world. It's like the Olympics for sports, for art. This is it. This is the ultimate. And so this year, Grenada is featuring the architect who designed the Grenada House of Parliament. Our architect, Brian Bullen, wanted to show the possibility of what it would look like if the Carronage was revitalized. The most interesting thing was that when we put up his plan for the revitalization of the Carronage, the library was included. And we got so many responses that said, I hope the library is the first step.
Maines is now making a further call for the general public, whether Grenadian or not, to share the old picture of the Carronage when the library was in operation. The picture will be placed alongside the Brian Bullen's design as an additional display at the exhibition.
So we put out a call to say, okay, send us your memories, a picture, an old picture, a handwritten note, a text, something that reminds you of that time when maybe you as a child or as a young person remember the library. Then we will put it all together in a big printed collage, and we will put that up in the pavilion in Venice. Our website is grenadavenice.org, and the email is grenadavenice@gmail.com.
The picture will also be posted onto a special page on the grenadavenice.org website, so those who cannot visit in Venice can still be moved by our most precious memories. For GBN News, I am Rena Pear-Thomas reporting.
Imagine having the home of your dreams. Imagine investing in that piece of property you can call your own. Imagine finally doing that home improvement project you've always been thinking about. It's time to stop imagining and start doing. Let the GUT Credit Union help you take the first step with fantastic rates, affordable repayments, and reduced legal fees. Make the move. Get better terms on your mortgage. Use your home equity to make those dreams a reality. Act now. There's really no place like home. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
The Children and Adolescents Ministries of the Grenada Conference of Seventh-day Adventists presents Faith is the Victory Gospel Series. Get ready to be blessed by dynamic young preachers. This life-changing gospel series begins on Sunday, 4th July 2021 and continues nightly at 7 p.m. This series will be streamed on Mission Live GND via YouTube and Facebook. Subscribe now. There will be good gospel singing, prayers, special features, and powerful preaching. Come hear interesting topics such as faith as a mustard seed, the shield of faith versus the fiery darts, and the most powerful secret weapon. Above all, God will be there through the Holy Spirit, offering the free gifts of salvation. Come one, come all, and hear children on a mission. It will be awesome and amazing.
Introducing Color by Sissons. 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 Color by Sissons.
state-of-the-art Ultratech gasoline and diesel. Available only at Rubis stations.
Trends come and go, but jewelry is forever in style. Give a gift that lasts a lifetime. Diamond Intercontinental have diamond jewelry, gold and silver jewelries, engagement rings, wedding bands, chains, bracelets, and so much more. They also carry brands such as Anne Klein and Guess. Why wait? Visit Diamond Intercontinental Jewelry Store at the Esplanade Mall. Call 440-231234. The number again, 232-1234.
Good morning, Grand Lake Meter Reader.
Morning, Mr. Meterman. I'm glad I caught you. Last month, I got a very high bill, and I don't understand why.
Last month, we were not able to access your meter, so we had to estimate the bill.
So what can I do to ensure that my meter is easily accessible?
Well, you can get your licensed electrician to move your meter outside of the gate or directly in front of the house.
Well, I'll consider that.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Bruv, hello? I can't see you. What's good? But I can't even hear you. Yo. Hello? Hello? Ah.
Okay, I see. I'm good. I'm coming in.
Ah. There you are.
Live the experience right now. Enjoy high-quality video calling today. Stream, upload, and share with Digicel super fast LTE network. Visit our stores today and live the experience today. Digicel.
Montreal, it's time to line virtually one more time. Gemma Rayburn Baines here for Spice Island Cultural Festival, a celebration of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. This summer's festival is a celebration of life with food, fashion, music, and culture. Join us online Saturday, July 10th, 3 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube at Spice Island Cultural Festival. Info, spiceislandculturalday.com.
Customer services, bill payment, revenue collections. We are open. NOASA's Lucas Street headquarters.
Come, we are excited to serve you.
NOASA, committed to meeting customers' needs.
level of convenience and comfort awaits you when you shop at Rise and Shine Supermarket and Hardware Supplies, Griffin Lane, Grenville. Convenient, because we are open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday to Sunday. We're even at your service on public holidays. Comfort, because we are easily accessible to the physically challenged. Free Wi-Fi is available while you shop, and bags come at no charge. Everyday low prices and excellent customer care. Adequate parking available. We supply everything you can possibly think of. Family and home supplies, fresh meat, vegetables, and personal care products. All brands of cooking gas at affordable prices. Plumbing fixtures, cutting and grinding discs, PVC glue, drywall screws, and power saw blades. You can send in your order, have it pulled, or pick up express.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas?
Get Rubis, get going.
Once upon a time, we shopped at Wonderland, then Neverland. But we're all grown up now and no longer believe in fairy tales. So now we just shop at Shoes R Us. At Shoes R Us, we stock the latest in shoes, tops, and jeans for the fashion-conscious lady. We also carry colognes and much, much more. And for the modern trendy male, we have the latest brand name shoes and sneakers, Converse, Reebok, Nike, K-Swiss, Puma, and much more. So check us out at our two convenient locations, Melville Street in St. George and Ben Jones Street in Granville. At Shoes R Us, we say, come shop with us.
There are some islands down in the south you don't know nothing about. That's my Grenada, Carriacou, and the Petit Martinique, 3 islands so unique. 3 different islands and 3 different parts, interested to explore. So I urge you, don't stay too long, come and see where we all belong. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell. Want a country and tell, not just beautiful beach, for the culture that's rich, you'll enjoy your friendship. Come and see for yourselves, come behold what we sell. Want a country and tell.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. It is now exactly 20 minutes after 7 o'clock. Those of you who are just joining us, happy to have you. And those of you who stuck with us, thank you for your patience. Let's get into it. We have lots to deal with this morning. My virtual guest joining me on Good Morning Grenada this morning is President of the Grenada Union of Teachers. I know this is the kind of program we deal with on To The Point, but there are some pressing issues that we wanted to cover, so I decided that I would just accommodate the discussion this morning on Good Morning as To The Point. We wanted to bring it up closer. We wanted to bring it closer to the top of the week. We can't wait for Thursday, please a lot. So we're bringing it to Good Morning Grenada this morning. So let's say good morning to President of the Grenada Union of Teachers, Mr. Jude Bartholomew. Morning, Mr. Bartholomew. How are you doing, sir?
All right, good morning to you, Blossom. I'm doing very well.
Happy to have you.
This is Mr. Jude Bartholomew, the President General of the Grenada Union of Teachers. And let's hope this morning that will blossom, during your medium that will blossom. All right, bringing the information to the Grenadian public with its truthful, honest, and sincerity. So good morning to our teachers, principals, and all those in education, wherever you are. A special good morning to the nation. Good morning to all our workers, public officers, wherever you are. And all those who are struggling in one way or another in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. And to all our citizens, we say good morning to you, wherever you are. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. All right, we have a few things to cover this morning. Top of my list of things that I wanted to ask you about, sir. Last week Friday, Grenada was placed under tropical storm watch as we prepared for the passage of tropical storm to Hurricane Elsa. And one of the things that members of the public were concerned about was that a number of students went to school. Their parents dropped them off to school, and then halfway during the morning or so they had to pick them up, or schools were closed and so on and so forth. It was just a lot of confusion for some parents. Has the GUT received such reports? What are your thoughts on how it unfolded last week in relation to our students in the midst of an approaching weather system?
Well, we would have heard it just probably like you on the outside with parents voicing their concerns and citizens for their children. And probably in one way, one can observe and see the very said caring government of Grenada. This government, whenever the Grenada Union of Teachers and you have other unions taking part in industrial actions and such, if we go out on the streets, that the government, the Ministry of Education and others will say that, teachers will leave the children in school and go on the streets, all right? Creating problems for the safety of the children. That's what they would say. And look at the evidences on Friday. You have a bad weather, you have a storm, you have this sort of conditions, and a Ministry of Education and a government that is so caring would allow, for whatever reasons, would allow the children to be in school or whoever at this particular time. So there should have been real good, clear communications from the Ministry of Education, from the government, from wherever it is, in terms of keeping the children home or whatever, because it was a risk, not only for the children, but for teachers and other persons involved. You watch this situation, there were rivers, the flooding all over the place. You had situations about certain schools in the south and in flat areas that children and teachers had to be there until the water subsided and all those things. That's a public risk. And we pray that such a thing will not happen again. So I don't know if the reason for that in terms of was with the teachers and trying to squeeze the teachers, punish the teachers in any way, form so that they should be in school. But you realize in any situation or circumstances, the teachers are doing what they have to do. Public officers are doing what they have to do. So I think Friday is not a good day in terms of, for the government of Grenada and the Ministry of Education, in terms of allowing children, look at the safety, you talk about safety measures and safety issues for all those things. The little children, at this time now, you're allowing them in the rain, in these conditions, storm conditions and such, to go to school. Whether you have exams or whatever, all those things could have been put off for the safety of the children and the teachers and other persons involved.
What usually takes place what's the communication process during a time like this? Does the instructions have to come from the top of the top of the top? Can schools make that decision for themselves whether to tell parents keep the children home? What should take place?
Well, basically there are protocols involved, so the information and communications should start from the very top, from the Ministry of Education, from the government. They will get the information from the Met Office and such. They would have known, what is happening, a storm or the inclement weather. So they know. And many times the Ministry of Education, they would come to the school, come to principals, come to teachers. If you do something and you breach the protocol or the line of communication. So it has become very difficult sometimes even for our principal to make the decision to say, well, let us send the children home. Even you saw it in industrial actions and in other domains where the principal should be in a position to use his discretion and initiative to say, well, okay, this is the situation at the school and such, and then you use your discretion to send the children, let the children go home. But at times it is very, very difficult because the very principal probably at times don't know what to do, because in that one instance, the Ministry of Education and the government will say, well, no, you don't have that authority to do this and you have to call us first. We have to give you the okay to do such things. And in any eventualities, it is very difficult now when you have a climatic conditions and a weather pattern like that with a storm outside. If children would have come to school, to send them home during that, all the rain and all the floods and all those things, is a tricky situation, because even if you reach in school already, even if it is a normal day, it is difficult for a principal or teacher sometimes to just send children home. If something would have happened outside, the very said government and others will say, look look at this, what will you do to the children? So at that time, with the weather conditions and those things, the children are in school already, and probably in that situation there, it might be the safest thing to keep them there until. But what we say in there is judgment. All right, it's judgment, the judgment call. The government, a storm doesn't really just come upon you just like that in 5 minutes at the weather conditions. So the week before, you'd have known what is taking place, and the children should not have been allowed to go to school that particular day.
A comment on Facebook prompts me to ask this question. Somebody on Facebook says, the children were at home and their parents chose to send them to school. The rain started coming very early in the morning. Who does the onus lie with in terms of sending the children to school / keeping the children in school / sending them back home? Parents, teachers, principals, the ministry, the GUT?
If we go to look at every direction who the blame lies on there this morning, probably would not reach anywhere. So you look at it's a number of factors, yes, but the clarion call is basically who calls the shot is the Ministry of Education. That's the people who call the shots. So they would know. So it doesn't make sense going into whether the principal, whether the teachers, whether the parents and such. Yes, you may want to go and say parents should have used their discretion. Then the children come to school, the principal should have used discretion, teachers should use discretion, everybody should use discretion. If you have real good communications and line of communication, then that shouldn't happen. The real important matter here is that you have an inclement weather. In this sort of conditions, probably, and what makes the thing bad is that there are other places that was closing down. During the day, there are institutions, there are workplaces that were closing down and persons who are going home. And that is the situation there. So the key point there, the most important thing is that who calls the shot is the Ministry of Education, the government. They have all the tools and they should have known. Or they should have, guide the parents and do all those things. So it's not passing blame here, there, and everywhere. But what we would like to see that something like that doesn't happen again. If you're talking about the safety of the children and the teachers and other persons involved.
All right, let's move along. We have a lot of things to touch on this morning. Any latest, or what is the latest on the 4% salary increase for public officers and teachers? Are we, I say we because I want a little change, but are we still getting it at the end of August 2021? Is it confirmed?
All right, so even before I touch the 4% issue, I just want to go back to the public, the general public, the society, the persons at large, wherever you are. If you look at the situation with the 4%, with the teachers, with public officers, and you will say it's a shame, it's an unfortunate situation. So we want to go back to the parents because they have their children in school for the year. We have the struggle, taking into consideration that this 4% issue is a signed agreement, all right, a 3-year agreement, and that has been signed and sealed already. So we are negotiating for something which the deal is done already. So we're not negotiating for salary increase or the 4%. That is legally ours, legally binding. All right. And so it's unfortunate that we have to do that. But before we do that, to bring in the thing properly, what I would want to say to the general public, look at the performance of the teachers, look at the performance of the school, look at in all situations, even when we had industrial action, we never neglect the principal, the teachers, never neglect the responsibility, even at times when we would have gone in the street to march, to protest. We would have never abandoned or abdicated our responsibility towards the nation's children. You see it in the MCT exams, which took place. The Grenada Union of Teachers did not say because we want the 4% and such. And that is what we have to be careful about when the government of Grenada, and they come on the radio and they use various mediums to divide our people and to let the nation know that the teachers and principals are not caring. It is far from the truth because you had the minimum, you had the MCT exam took place. CPA took place, and you look at the results in terms of that took place. The teachers never abdicated for their responsibility. Look at you have CSEC exams and all the other exams. Even when we have some burning issues and we are hurting from one direction to the other. And that's what you're saying. You have a caring workforce with the Grenada Union of Teachers, with all its teachers and other public officers who have been really and truly heroes, doing invaluable sacrifices and truly call of duty, doing what they're supposed to do. So it is very difficult when you are getting these results, when teachers would have stood up and principals and everybody involved in what they're supposed to do. The public should be pleased and should be satisfied that even when we had an industrial action and we could have said no exams, we're not doing it. We could have said no graduation, we're not doing it. We could have said no reports. All right, no report at the end of the year. We could have said that we're not going on any field trips with any child. And that is the commitment, the dedication, the love, the invaluable sacrifices and everything from teachers and other workers through the length and breadth of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. All right, and it is very true. And when you come from all the sacrifices that the teachers, the principals, and everybody, public officers, would have made, especially during this COVID time, and you telling us is unconscionable that we have to be struggling, walking up and down on the street for 4%. The government should be embarrassed and should be ashamed to turn it around to tell the nation and the world that the teachers and public officers are marching on the street during a COVID period for a 4%. In some cases, $20, $40, $60. They should be ashamed because that's something that is legally ours. We are entitled to it. And if they would have done what they had to do and what they should do, that should not have happened. So the situation now, so I'll just give you the background now to come in. So we have gone sitting down in meeting from one to the next, so the public, the Grenadian public knows what is happening already. And when we thought that this matter is coming close to settle, because we want to settle the matter, the government comes, the Prime Minister came, all right, and he said that the matter should be settled, and before September, that thing should be ironed out. And what happened, we just reached a principle, something in principle for the government of Grenada, the Ministry of Education, Finance, to start paying, all right, to start paying in August. And you're talking about this is the portion, the 4%, whether the $40, the $30, the $60 that should go into your salary from August. But the retroactive portion, we would have thought that this government would have settled this matter and say, well, okay, they owe the public officers and teachers for how many months? For 6 months? For 7 months? And you telling me the government of Grenada cannot pay us at this time and cannot settle this? Cannot tell us when they're going to pay the retroactive. We keep asking them, when are you going to pay? We met with them, give them several opportunities, and all what they want to come with bonds. The teachers, the public officers, they are telling you that they don't want bonds. You're gonna take a bond for how much? For $200, $300, $400 in retroactive payments that you have to wait for 1 year for this little thing, and to say 1.5 or 3% increase. So you're getting what, $6, $8 after 1 year? And look at the economic situation for teachers and public officers. One thing this government is not saying, and the nation should see, yes, everybody is hurting, and we're not saying that the government should not help other people. We're not saying that they don't have to do what they have to do, but they have to keep with their responsibility for workers too. You can't just make us poor to make other people rich. You have to balance the equation. And teachers and other public officers are hurting too. So you telling us now, look at the situation coming up. Teachers have children in school, are going to college. Teachers have children, they have to buy books, they have to buy uniform, they have to buy food for during the holidays, just as all the other people that government are assisting. They are helping the people from one to the next, almost giving them everything. And you telling me the working man have to be poor just because of that? So in August, we thought by now that the government would have paid the retroactive payment in July of August, taking into consideration that that would have been a stimulus, economic boost for all, because the very said little retroactive money, the teachers and other public officers would have used it to buy the books, buy the children uniform, buy food, buy all those things. And so if we're not getting that, what will happen to the teachers? What will happen to the public officers? Their children have to go to school too. Every other person is what you watch in Grenada. They get the assistance for the uniform, they get assistance for the bus, they get assistance for different things. What is happening to the teachers? Where are the assistance for the teachers? Where are the assistance for the public officers who are working hard? And that is the situation. So coming back here, we have not reached anywhere with the retroactive payment. And what what we observe is that this government is not serious. The negotiating team, they're just playing games and trying to beat us around the bushes. From one with the teachers, and then they go to the public workers union and other negotiating team and telling them one to the next that the duty accepted that we did not accept any bonds. And it is the truth, we did not accept any bonds. What we did, we gave the government an opportunity. If you cannot pay the retroactive all one time, you say you have an economic problem. And if you cannot pay it all one time, we give you the opportunity, well, to pay in 2 tranches. Pay us some now, take a month free, and pay the rest. And it's insulting to see that the government still come back and telling us bonds, bonds, bonds. Only what they're checking on is bonds. And this government, once they make up their mind to do something, it seems that the head is hard, the heart is hard like stone, and they're not giving up. For what reason? And in the meantime, your teachers are suffering, your workers are suffering, and everybody is suffering just for a little 4%. So that's where we are. We haven't heard anything else as yet. So we're waiting on them to call us back to see what will happen. And that is the situation there. That is the truth.
You would always hear, when it comes to negotiations, you would always hear some people saying, maybe there should be a give and take on both sides. Is there any other compromise the duty, the teachers specifically, public officers by extension, are willing to make, whether it is in relation to the retroactive payment, maybe accepting part bond, or just working out a scheme, a payment scheme that can be satisfactory to everybody? Is there any more leeway that the duty is willing to make?
Well, we would have, if you're talking about leeway, is the duty and the public officers. If you and other unions, that money should have been paid in January. We went, whether directly or indirectly, whether we wanted it or not, to me. All right? That didn't happen. We went to June and July. We said, well, July. The government said, well, okay, August. We said, well, okay, in fairness, we're going to give you August to start. And that is the thing that we have been doing. So we look for all different ways in which the government could pay the money. I mean, look at the little money that to wait 1 year for a bond. All right, what you're talking about, the value of that money at that particular time. So if the longer you wait, that little money that you're waiting for is just losing value for the teachers and for the workers and other officers. And in the meantime, cost of living are going up. You have to pay more for food every day. You have to pay more for utility bills. You have to pay more for everything. All right, so the government has to take all those things into consideration. When you look at it, you look at the different sectors. It's only when you come to workers, there is a pattern here now. Only when it comes to workers, this thing happening now. This government, we ask them for, and where's the trust? We ask them for all the financial information. Give us the data, bring it out in the public from March. Let us see what is happening. And you know what the government did? When they realized that they started to do good, and that is the shamefulness of this government. Sometimes you're cooperating with them, you're trying to do all your best because the nation building and such. We are Grenadian people, and so we love our country, we love our nation, we love our children. And the historical fact it is always the worker, whether teachers, whether public officers, the different unions, who would have come together to pull this country back on its feet. Not the politicians. The politicians are the ones who always squander the wealth and the resources, and who have to pay for it in every direction is the workers. And so we have been cooperating, but the government must be just and fair too. They have to be just and fair. Just as we're meeting them on the half, they must meet us on the half. And if we say we don't want bonds, because teachers and other workers would have had some experience with bonds. They would have had some experience with bonds before, and they say they don't want bonds for this little money. So the government should go back on the table. And we want to believe that the government, they have the money. They're spending money here, there, and everywhere. Projects that you may know and you may not know about. All sorts of different things. Only when it comes to the workers of this country and the teachers and other officers that the government cannot find the money. They could find the money to raise funds wherever, on whatever market, whether the Eastern Caribbean market, wherever, and the same bonds and other things. Salary too is also a public debt. And so why is it that they want to raise the funds for that? We also said to the government, well, they could go to the financial institution, not us. You owe us, and you want to tell us now to go and see, look at the ways in which we can go outside there to avenues to pay? No, the government have to look and sit down and look at various ways. They can go to the financial institution for themselves. They can issue their bonds to the financial institution if they want and raise their money to pay us. Why is it that we have to do it? The public officers have to do it. So we have to do the work. We have to be dedicated to everything else and still have to come back to look for ways in terms of the government to pay us. When we order people, when you order people, you have to go to them in touch. You have to come up with your ways in terms of to pay and to do what you have to do. And so it's unfair, it's unfortunate what we are going through. What we are going through.
And I know the GUT as well is also dealing or continuing to deal with the issue of pension payments as well in the midst of the 4%. Any progress with the pension payment issue?
Well, the pension issue is one of the most, if you're talking about the 4% issue will come by whatever means the government has to pay. So that's one thing. So if you look at it again with the pattern, and that's what it's saying, it is a historical fact. It is truthful. The evidence are there. That is only when it comes to the workers, the teachers, the public officers, that's what we're going through. The same government would have taken our dark side. I mean, let the nation think about it. The same government, the teachers, the young people of this country, and all those people that the government boasts and say, they love so much. Oh, we love you, love you, love you. Yes, we do. Only for a particular time. And then you say, you take our dark salary. We are ordinary and poor people of this country, poor workers, the teachers. If you look at ordinary people, the public officers who would have worked so hard, you back our salaries. That's the money we never get back. We didn't get back that, When Grenada goes to austerity measures and all those things, we sacrifice, we lose there. We don't say it's for country. And the pattern goes, we are having problems every time for our money for our little negotiations. While in everything else, everybody fine. And here comes now, and the crown of it all, from one to the next with the injustices that has been done and dished out to workers, we still have this problem with pension. So after you catch hell, going through the system, it is crowned at the end, going home empty-handed. And that is a big problem. And we want the nation, that is everybody, to take note. This court matter, that should be held on the 15th of July, that pension matter in court. And we hope and pray that the court, the bastion of in terms of dealing with justice in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martin, will give justice to the teachers and the public officers to restore our 1958 pension. Because here we're talking about real poverty. And if the government really cares about its workers and its young people, they would restore the pension. They can do it. The government of Grenada, when you say government, you're talking about this government is continuum from one to the next. They can go back in parliament and pass the law, restore in terms of the Pension Act to give workers the due pension. If you look at it to bring home, as I did say the last time when I was on the program, if you look at Pamela George, teacher Pam, one leg again, struggling to go to school. There is a teacher who I got the permission to speak about this morning, Miss Anne-Marie Forsyth Pilgrim, a good citizen who would have contributed her whole life to education at Westall Secondary School and at other places. And look at Anne-Marie had to be forced in retirement. She had a heart attack. She had a strokes. Right now, dialysis, which is so expensive, after somebody like this would have spent 30-something years in teaching, no pension. Where's the conscience of the nation? Where's this conscience of government? No pension, and she's not begging her. That is her right. So she's struggling, and she's not the only person. There are lots of teachers and public officers who you don't see on the face every day, who have to struggle. Other persons have to come to their aid and such. When they would have made all these years and dedicated sacrifice, those things are painful. Those things are hurtful. It is wrong. It is wrong. So the voice of the nation should be for all public officers and teachers for pension. Because you can't work hard for this length of time and going home struggling, going home people sick at that time because that time you're going down in age and you have to be begging your bread, begging somebody to help you for medical bill, begging somebody for food on the table, begging somebody for this and begging somebody for that. And at the same time, the very politicians, that's why we want to slow down a while, for people to listen, not only for the teachers and public officers. Something is wrong here. If you look at the fairness is fairness, look at the politicians. From the time they are ministers and such, they get all their benefits. They get a gas allowance, transportation allowance, this allowance. They get every type of allowance, which means that the money they get, they don't have to spend all the money. They don't have to spend that. At the same time, they pass their own law. So the politicians, they call the shots. They call the shots and they pass their law to secure themselves. So after 2 terms, like as we say, the Honorable Steele, Minister for Health, could get his pension. Other politicians are going home nice. 2 terms they could retire. And sometimes the 2 terms is not 10 years, sometimes 8 and before. Not only that, they have the constituency allowances. They have the constituency allowance. And every time an election is called, when an election is called, the ministers, they get a certain amount of monies, even if a 60,000 and 80,000. So the more often and frequent that you have elections, they go home with something nice because they're not too sure if they're coming back. So they're getting this, they're getting their pension, they're getting all sort of allowances and benefits from the state, And who paying the money? The same teachers and public officers. We are the one who pay the taxes. So the government really and truly is not doing us a favor. That is our monies. Yes, it should be shared equally and distributed equally. So the very sad persons who working hard in this country, paying tax, when the country go off in terms of economically, and we have to go to the IMF and those things, the workers that bring it back. And here you tell me now you're going home empty-handed and at the mercy of persons, and you have to beg on the street in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique in what should be a just society. That is wrong. If the government was fair and the honest and the sincere, why didn't they get rid of the law that give them pension in 2 terms so that they could identify with the workers? They should get rid of it right now. They should get rid of it. The churches, the state should call, the nation should call upon the government of Grenada to get rid of this law and this act that give them pension after they would have gotten all the benefits that they have from the state. These people living nice. They living nice. So until they settle this pension matter, they should get rid of this law for themselves. Or if they want justice, to pass the law that give the workers and teachers pension in the morning.
On that note, Mr. Bartholomew, let's take a quick break and then we're going to come back inside with some more. We're speaking with President of the Grenada Union of Teachers, Jude Bartholomew. Good morning, Grenada. We'll be right back.
Get vaxxed, hey, hey, vaccinated. Get vaxxed, hey, hey, get vaccinated. Vaccinated. So wear your mask, wash your hands, and practice social distance. This is we chance to advance. Come let we fight this COVID at once. So come on, let we fall in line. We want to come back to with social life. There is vaccination island wide. So come on, let we fight it to protect we and we family.
This is a message from the Grenada Red Cross and the Ministry of Health.
Montreal, it's time to line virtually one more time. Gemma Rayburn Baines here for Spice Island Cultural Festival, a celebration of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit-Martinique. This summer's festival is a celebration of life with food, fashion, music, and culture. Join us online Saturday, July 10th, 3 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube at Spice Island Cultural Festival. Info, spiceislandculturalday.com.
Understanding our ocean is education for life. Encourage your students to learn about marine life, water quality, sea level rise.
Let them explore sciences. Encourage them through field trips and scholarships. The more they know, the better they can protect our oceans from litter and climate change. Let them rise to the challenge. The ocean is our responsibility, their inheritance, their future.
This message brought to you by the OECS Commission with funding from the Government of Norway. Remlit, tackling ocean pollution from turf to surf.
Welcome back to Good Morning Grenada. Speaking with President of the Grenada Union of Teachers, Mr. Jude Bartholomew. Mr. Bartholomew, in the interest of time, let's move on to another issue that I recently heard about. I was recently informed that there are plans to, let's say, adjust how teachers and potential teachers can go to school, aka Teachers College at the T.A. Marichaud Community College. As is done now, it is usually teachers or those who would like to become teachers attend Teachers College during the day, during working hours, like the other students do. However, I understand there are plans to adjust that so that the teachers would go to school after school. So after teaching throughout the day, then they would have to attend Teachers College. So I call it school after school. How I should put it, boy? Is that true information? Is this an issue, a concern for the GUT?
I'm glad that you would have heard about that, and probably the nation. It's a concern, and it's a real concern, because what you are seeing is not only this situation with Teachers College, and if you listen to the name, it's Teachers College, but to me now it is becoming now no longer Teachers College. And what one would observe and have to be careful with, it seems that there is a pattern in trying to erode all the benefits that the teachers have and other public officers have. The premier institution for training teachers in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique is Teachers College TAMCC. And with a bursary and such, and every year, teachers should be guaranteed at the Ministry of Education, guaranteed a certain amount of teachers, whether it be 60 teachers or what the case may be. It is very, very difficult for a teacher with the 2-year program to make it during the day right now. So more or less to say now, you tell the teachers, yes, they want to bring the program to 3 years. But can you imagine, when you have to go to school? So what the ministry is proposing is saying, we're getting rid of this thing for you. So yes, if you want to, it's up to you. But you have to go on your own now. You will pay your way and you will go after school. I don't know if that is a punishment for the teachers because we stand up in terms of industrial action and what we do, but it just seems from one to the next. You're working hard during the day, and after you come out to school, then you have to either rush down. They say some will be virtually. You have to rush down to TAMCC in the afternoon now to deal with this program. All right, and it is difficult, it is hard. What about the teachers? Some persons who have their family, they have children, they're a little bit older. How are you dealing with that situation? And if you say on Fridays, yes, you'll have some classes by Zoom or the various mediums, and on Friday or whatever day, the teachers will go down to college or that day where everybody could go. What would also happen? Who replacing the teacher in the classroom? Who is it? Is it the youth empowerment? Is it what would happen to all the teachers who usually, when somebody go to college, they would get a job? It seems as all those things will be dried up, and you have to take those things into consideration. Who replacing whom? So we have to take all those things into consideration, because if nobody replacing the teacher, it means that all the pressure would come on other teachers or other persons in the school when the teacher goes. So you have to look at it at the secondary level, at the primary level. We're not saying that some adaptation or some minor changes should not take place, but when you want to do these things, these things have to be well thought out. So we're saying to the ministry to think about what you are doing, and we're saying to our teachers, also our members, we have to be smart and think all this thing and make sure that these things be done right. And part of it you're hearing that the ministry will say they will try to restore it whenever. Whenever you lose something from the government, you don't get it back. And we start seeing the pattern of this thing since last year. No teacher got you to go to TAMCC last year. There is a pattern, and COVID-19 is always used as the excuse to get rid of the benefits. The same time, Imanis are youth empowerment officers who are going to TAMCC, and who paying for it? The same government of Grenada, not only TAMCC, not only Teachers College, but right through TAMCC and other ways. They go into college, they get in their salary, they get in part of their benefits and such, and the teachers is squeezing the teachers. So this is unfair. Even what we're learning also this year also, it may not be directly by the Ministry of Education, but the same humanities and youth empowerment officers, we're not saying that they shouldn't get the opportunity to develop themselves, but they go into college too and they will be going full time, while the teacher now has to go after school. And that's the premier institution for you want to say you want to improve teaching. Teaching is becoming difficult and all those things is not easy. And then your premier institution, you're telling the teachers that they have to go after school. So there's one problem. And from one to the next, we want to move directly also to regularization. Temporary teachers is a burning issue. And not only that, before we come out of the college there are some teachers who finished TAMCC Teachers College since 2020, early 2021, and in January they should have been upgraded. And all the documents and everything is there. And they have to wait for months upon months upon months, and these persons have not received any upgrading or any financial compensation as yet. So they're waiting for the 4% money. They're not getting, after they study and they pass the exams and such, they're not getting the compensation, together with all those persons who would have done their bachelors, their masters, and persons improving themselves. And all those documents, they pass the exams, they pass the thing, and they sit down in DPA, the thing, they sit down in the ministry, and it's a slow process, and persons are hurting and frustrating. We want the government of Grenada to know that workers, whether public officers, whether nurses, doctors, policemen, teachers, you can't have a whole nation of workers frustrated and hurting. And if you're talking about production, then you will not get it until people are at least fairly satisfying. You may not reach the maximum, but your workers, wherever you are, must have a level of satisfaction. And so let's go back quickly now to regularization and permanent status. This has been going on for a long time. Years upon years upon years, persons are in the system. Teachers, nurses are telling you that. And these people will be demotivated. They're in the system and they cannot be upgraded. So if you're talking about the teachers, you're talking about the nurses, we're going back to COVID-19. These persons would have worked hard. Policemen would have worked hard. Nurses, doctors, they take the risk, they take the sacrifices, and they cannot get the financial remuneration and upgrading. This is unfair and unfortunate. And with the teachers, young teachers, some of them are, as we said, voted for the NNP administration. They support, and we mustn't look at politics in these things. Time for the teachers and other public officers to be upgraded. They want job security. They don't want to depend on government. They want to get a mortgage. They want to be able to go and take a loan. They want to do everything else as persons who have the permanent status and the permanent job. So let's move. Let's get cracking. And what we're saying, yes, the Ministry of Education is moving to regularize some teachers. But up to now, the Grenada Union of Teachers have not seen the list. But that's what we're concerned about. Yes, you can do what you want to do, but we must see the list. We must examine this list. We must see who is there. We must see some of the criteria and the conditions and all those things. So what we're calling on the Ministry of Education to immediately bring the list or the names to the Grenada Union of Teachers. Let's see who you are there, what you have there, what are the conditions, and we want to make sure, not just like workers, you give them a permanent job, they should be properly compensated. So these are some burning issues. And quickly, we also move to some of the principles and things that are happening in school. Principals are concerned. They are concerned in terms of that. Before when you're choosing somebody, say you want to give somebody a job or a teacher and such, and the principals would have a say. The principals would have a say sometimes in who, they have a say together with the Ministry of Education, sometimes the churches and other boards. And what the principals are complaining about now, the ministry just seems to want to impose their will, and they're just doing everything for themselves sometimes, and just call the principals and tell them, well, we're having an interview today, and they don't know, they are not part of the matrix, they are not part of the decision making, who that person is and who should, they mightn't be able to choose everybody, but gone are the days, and too much of political power and all those things, high-handedness from the Ministry of Education and other ministries by passing. And that's why we're having problems. Even when a cook leaves, you reach 60, you retire. The principal in the schools and the various schools, they are complaining. They don't have a say. Some of them, they don't even know who coming. All what they hear call and say somebody coming from there and there, and this is wrong. So we want the Ministry of Education to be fair, to reason with our principal, live with them. They are the ones running the schools. They must have some say and control.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Bartholomew. We need to end the interview here, but of course, we continue to keep in touch and deal with the issues that are affecting our teachers, the GUT, the concerns that the union has as we continue to go forward. And let's hope everything works out for our teachers, for the union, and public officers as well. Thank you so very much, Mr. Bartholomew. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
All right, so I want to thank you very much for hosting this program. I want to just quickly remind persons about the pension quickly, and there should be some activities coming up for this week and next week dealing with the pension issue. We ask the nation to pray for us because we cannot break everything just by industrial action, but we need prayers, we need persons to pray. We need persons to pray for us, pray for your teachers, pray for public officers, pray for the nation, that God will deal with the situations, the thing what we cannot achieve for ourselves, God will achieve it for us. Let's work together, let's rally together, teachers, public officers, whoever you are, the nation. And we thank you very much for giving us that listening ear this month.
Thank you very much, sir. Enjoy. All right, now, thank you very much, Mr. Bartholomew. This is where we end Good Morning Grenada. It's now time for us to join the BBC for the 8 a.m. newscast, which is currently in progress. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, everybody. Bye-bye.